Hello, hello, I'm Kads, and welcome back to the free-to-play review. So today we're going to be talking about the new event in the game, the 4th anniversary Titan event in all of its glory. First off, this is going to be running for 13 weeks, as you can see here, and the total points required to finish everything is 77,500. There are 5 milestones with various rewards that increase in value as you go along. And honestly, they're offering some pretty decent stuff. So a good amount of shards, you got ancients and voids, good amount of gems, some epic tomes, some soul stones, some chaos ore, and some chickens along the way. Avatars as well, some energy, XP banners, etc. So pretty decent stuff overall. Another void shard here, and of course the soul stone, and of course the crown jewel being the sacred shard at the end. Also, along the way, they do offer these chests that scale up with each milestone to create or to give you better quality rewards. So soul coins, soul essence, gems, and tomes. Silver one, same thing. You start adding in ancient shards. Gold, you start adding in epic tomes. Platinum, you start adding in legendary tomes, immortal soul stones, 5-star chickens, barrels, feasts, etc. And then the big kahuna here, where you can still get eternal or immortal soul stones, and legendary skill tomes, 5-star chickens, void shard, etc. So what are my thoughts overall? I would start with the good part. You know, free stuff is free stuff. So I'm somewhat blocking it, but in this corner here it says objectives, and it's just events and tournaments. So essentially, you do what you normally do during fusions, during just regular play. You farm dungeons, you do artifact enhancement, you do dungeon divers, whatever. You do your normal activities, and you're going to get free stuff along the way. So with that in mind, hey, I'll take it. You know, more stuff for doing the exact same thing. However, the bad part about it is, unlike a fusion or fragment summon, we don't really know how many points are being offered in total. So if they're only offering 77,500, then as soon as you miss anything, you cannot get the sacred. I hope that's not the case. I hope there's maybe 90,000 up for grabs and there's some wiggle room. But with that in mind, I'm kind of dialing it back as far as my expectations, and I'm going to aim just to get the legendary tome, so 52,000 points by the end of the 13-week period. And that would give me, I could lose, 20,000-ish points along the way, not have to worry about not making it to the end. So we'll see how that works and how it plays out. It's unfortunate that we don't know, and maybe they'll tell us more in the future that could be a possibility. But essentially, we're running a marathon that's timed, but we don't know how long it is, and thus we don't know how to pace ourselves. So it's a bit odd that we kind of have half of the information on how to do this. But nonetheless, again, free stuff is free stuff. So I just say get as far as you can, and don't fret if you can't end up getting all the way out to the sacred. And since the first few events are already live, we might as well talk about those as well. This is the current Heroes Path, Elhain's Path. There's going to be one Heroes Path for each of the starter champions in the game for the 4th anniversary. So this is Elhain. So there's going to be one for Gaelic, Kael, and Aethel as well. This particular one is the worst possible combination for a Heroes Path, and it is a combination of dungeon divers and artifact enhancement. So getting gear and leveling it up. If we take a look at the path itself, it's pretty straightforward. You have a left and a right, and they're fairly linear with not much kinks going on there. So pretty straightforward path. The left path is going to cost 12,200 points to get all the way down to the anniversary points, and the right path is going to cost you 11,050 to get down to the anniversary points. All along the way, you could get an ancient shard, you could get a free copy of Elhain, but she's relatively easy to obtain from ancients or mystery shards. And if you go down the right side, you're going to get up to a 3-star split soul, along with some rare tomes and a couple of gems. So if you add 3,000 points to either of those totals, then you would get the player points here at the bottom, but I'm not including that because I don't think most of us really care that much about an extra 3,000 points, particularly just to get the player points. That being said, the total for the entire path is 26,250 points, and that's assuming you take the path of least resistance. So, for example, you take the 150 here instead of 200, and you take the 100 here instead of the 200. So as far as my recommendation for this event, starting off with the artifact enhancement aspect of it, I don't recommend doing that at all. There's a fusion or a fragment summon starting in a few days, and you're going to want as much silver as possible for that when that comes around. So I'd kind of ignore the artifact enhancement part of this. And the Dungeon Divers bit, I'll put my spreadsheet here up on the screen where I did some calculations just to kind of share a bit more detail for the Dungeon Divers aspect of it. I have a 12-3 brutal run averages for the rewards you'd get, and I have the coins for each of those. And I pulled this data from a Reddit sample of about 1,000 runs, so it might not be exactly like data mined info, but it's accurate enough for what we're looking at here. But the main takeaway there is that it'll cost you about 10 coins, or you'll get about 10 coins per run, and that's because you might get a rare, or uncommon, or mystery shards, which will give you 0 coins. And that equates to about 1.25 coins per energy spent. Similarly, for Dungeon Divers, or for dungeons, if you're doing stage 20, stage 24, stage 25, we have those percentages, and that is data mined, and the coin values respective for each of those. And again, the takeaway being here that basically you're going to get around 32 coins per run on average, and then depending on the energy cost for each of the stages, you might get, you'll be more or less efficient depending on which one you're doing. So stage 20, of course, is always most efficient for Dungeon Divers events, but if you care more about getting gear as well, then stage 24 or 25 is just where you're going to have to be. Now, the brutal part of this is highlighted in this table here, where we have the energy cost, looking at each of the methods of getting Dungeon Divers points for each of the paths. And focusing on one, for example, stage 20, if you were to do stage 20 dragon, it would take, to do the right side, it would take 5,700 energy over the course of the next 3 days, which is completely ridiculous. And obviously I would not recommend trying to max that out. So realistically, you're going to get some partial way through, and you're not going to max it out unless you're going super hard on the dragon, because it is 2 times speed. So if you want to go that hard, you can, but for me, I'm not going that hard. And since I brought it up, here is the Dragon Tournament going on right now, where they do offer some anniversary points at 1,700, as well as some playing points at 2,350, which is not unreasonable. Normally for these types of tournaments, you'd have an Epic Tome at 2,700, so this is cheaper than it would cost. And again, it is 2 times speed, so more than likely you're going to want to be farming Dragon over the next 3 days anyways. But getting to 2,350 would only require about 780 points a day, which is fairly reasonable and about on par for what you'd expect, even for like a fusion rare or a fusion fragments. So it's not ridiculous, but a good time to get into Dragon. You get some Divers points along the way that'll contribute towards the Hero's Path, but don't worry too much about trying to max out the Hero's Path. So jumping back to the path with the final note, what exactly am I going to be redeeming? I'm just going to try and get as many anniversary points as I can, so I'm probably going to come down the left and the right just to start, and then I'll make it as far down the right side as I possibly can over the next 3 days. You know, I would like the Split Soul. I do use Elhain in a stun set for secret rooms, so that would be cool to have a high level of Phantom Touch, but I highly doubt I'm going to get that far or even remotely close, so just with the free and daily energy. So I'll do what I can, but at the very least, I'm going to get 1,000 anniversary points out of this Hero's Path. All right, so that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you guys found this helpful and showed you a path forward that you could take to do some or make some progress on the Hero's Path, as well as get a head start on the Titan event itself. Let me know how you guys feel about this event and the Hero's Path in the comment section down below. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to drop a like and/or subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.